Next to description of blood vessels, we are going to start with a new topic on pulse. You all might have studied about the pulse pressure, pulse points. So this is what we are going to study today. So here what is important is the definition of pulse and pulse pressure. Then the two terms which are given here, that is tachycardia and bradycardia, ये दो terms पता होने चाहिए. And then what are the different pulse points in our body? So what is a pulse? Pulse is a series of pressure waves that travel through the arteries due to ventricular systole. Means when the ventricles undergo contraction, when the blood from the ventricles is pushed outside, at that time, a pressure wave is generated in the arteries and that pressure wave is called as pulse. We can see that the pulse rate is always equal to the heart rate. It is strongest in the arteries which are very close to the heart. You can observe or can feel the pulse in the arteries which are very close to the heart, and gradually it becomes weak as the arteries go away from the heart. Until it reaches the veins, it's very less. So a question may come like, it's an application based question, that in veins you do not feel pulse. Pulse pressure is not felt in the veins. The reason is that it is very much strongest in the arteries which are very near to the heart, and then slowly it becomes weak as the arteries go away from the heart, and by the time it reaches the veins it becomes very less, so it is not being felt in the veins. It can be felt easily in some superficial arteries like the radial artery which is present in the wrist. It's given here, you can see. It can be felt very easily in the radial artery in the wrist and carotid artery in the neck. These are the two regions where you can feel pulse pressure, and these are the superficial arteries of the body. One is the radial artery in the wrist and other is carotid artery in the neck. Now what is tachycardia? As we know that the pulse rate is equal to heart rate and normal heartbeats is 72 per minute. So if this number of heartbeat increases more than 100, it is said to be tachycardia. So it's a pulse rate which is higher than normal. It is tachycardia, and pulse rate which is lower than normal is called bradycardia. And it has to be less than 60. So when it is less than 60, it is said to be bradycardia. When it is more than 100, it is tachycardia. So this is all about the pulse pressure and the pulse points in the body. Where this diagram is essential, a diagram may be given and they'll ask you to mark the pulse points. It can see here, it's there on the facial part near the chin, then it's on the temporal region, above the chin, then carotid which is present lower neck, brachial which is present on the shoulders, radial present on the wrist, femoral which is present in the hip, dorsal pedis which is present in the feet, popliteal which is present in the thighs, and posterior tibial which is felt in the toes. So these are the different pulse points in our body. Which blood vessel of the heart will have the maximum content of oxygen and why? So it is the pulmonary vein which carries the maximum content of oxygen. Pulmonary circulation, you all might have seen that deoxygenated blood from the heart goes to the lungs for oxygenation and it returns to the heart as the oxygenated blood. This oxygenation blood by systemic circulation is pushed in the heart through the pulmonary veins. So heart, it is taken towards the heart through various parts and returns back to the heart as a deoxygenated blood. So pulmonary vein is the only blood vessel that carries freshly oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. So it is pulmonary vein. You have to remember this for MCQs as well. How blood is kept moving in the large vessels of the legs? The reason is that the blood in the large vessels, if you see, is kept moving by means of azygos system. What is this azygos system? Azygos system, it is located on the either side of our vertebral column and which drains the viscera. Viscera is a fluid which is present in the vertebral column, that is cerebrospinal fluid, within the mediastinum as well as the back and thoracoabdominal walls. Okay, so this system is located in this region on the both sides of the vertebral column and then within the mediastinum. Mediastinum is a region where the heart is located and also on the back and thoracoabdominal walls. So it serves as a bypass for the inferior vena cava that drains blood from the lower body. It drains blood from the lower body. It carries blood from the lower body towards the heart. The several small veins link the isogous system directly with the inferior vena cava, and as this large veins drains the lower limbs and the abdomen, it conducts blood into the isogous system. It comes from the lower limbs and also the abdominal region. So if the inferior vena cava or the hepatic portal vein becomes obstructed, the azygous system returns blood from the lower body to the superior vena cava. So if there is any problem, if there is obstruction in the inferior vena cava or hepatic portal vein, you can see that the system will now return the blood to the body through superior vena cava. This is the reason why blood is kept moving in the large veins of the legs. You have to remember all these questions. It may come as 2 marks questions in your exam. Now, next very important question here is note on blood pressure. And then again, a three-based question. Three-based question means a question can be asked either as a note on arterial blood pressure or causes of arterial blood pressure or factors affecting arterial blood pressure. Now, what is blood pressure? So it is a pressure which is exerted by the blood on the wall of blood vessels. It's called as blood pressure. This blood pressure is measured by an instrument called as sphygmomanometer. It's given here, see, sphygmomanometer. It is usually measured from the arteries of the body. The name of the instrument which is used to measure the blood pressure is sphygmomanometer. Now let us see what you mean by arterial blood pressure. So pressure exerted by the blood on the wall of artery is called as arterial blood pressure. Now this pressure which is exerted on the arterial wall during the contraction process is systolic blood pressure. That is when the ventricles undergo contraction, when it pumps the blood outside, it is called as systolic pressure. This systolic pressure in a normal healthy person is considered to be 120 mm of mercury, you can see here. And the pressure on the arterial wall during relaxation, that is when the ventricles relax, it is called diastolic pressure and it's known as, and it is said to be around 80 mm of mercury. So blood pressure, if it is 120 by 80 mm of mercury, it is considered to be a normal blood pressure of a healthy adult. Okay, so it is SP upon DP, that is 120 by 80 mm of mercury. This difference between the systolic and the diastolic pressure is called as pulse pressure, and the normal pulse pressure is approximately 40 mm of mercury. So this is a note on arterial blood pressure. Usually the question is asked on like, what do you mean by systolic pressure, what is diastolic pressure, and what is pulse pressure. Now, what are the causes of arterial blood pressure? How this arterial blood pressure increases? So it is seen that if the blood pressure lowers than normal, that is when it goes by 90 by 60 mm of mercury, it is hypotension. And when it is higher than normal, that is around and more than 140 by 90 mm of mercury, it is said to be hypertension. So 90 by 60 and below that is hypotension, 140 by 90 and above that is hypertension. How it is caused? So it may be caused due to many reasons. Out of this, some reasons have been noted down here. You can see high or low blood volume, arterial inelasticity or hardening of arteries, which is called as arteriosclerosis. A hardening of artery takes place because of the deposition of cholesterol on the walls of the arteries. There is deposition of fats, cholesterol in the artery. This is called atherosclerosis. Renal diseases, emotional. Renal diseases means kidney diseases, emotion-induced hormonal changes, obesity, etc. These are certain reasons for arterial pressure, high arterial blood pressure. So a question can be asked in these two manners. Then again, it also can be asked in the form of factors affecting blood pressure. So these are different factors which affect blood pressure. One among that is cardiac output. Normal cardiac output is around 5 liters per minute. An increase in the cardiac output will increase systolic blood pressure. Then peripheral resistance. Well, what do you mean by this peripheral resistance? If there is decrease in the diameter of arterioles and the capillaries under the effect of vasoconstrictors, that is in presence of a hormone like vasopressin or ADH, cause increase in the peripheral resistance and thereby increases blood pressure. Then comes blood volume. In case of accidents and all, the blood volume decreases. So thus the blood pressure also decrease. Viscosity of the blood. Blood pressure is directly proportional to the viscosity. If the viscosity is more, blood pressure is more. If it is less, blood pressure is less. Then come to age. Blood pressure increases with the age due to inelasticity of the blood vessels. Then comes venous return. Venous return means it's the amount of blood which is brought to the heart via veins per minute. Okay, it's called venous return. If venous return is more, blood pressure is more. If it is less, blood pressure is less. Length of the blood vessel. It is directly proportional to the blood pressure. Blood pressure can also be affected due to vasoconstriction or vasodilation. If it is vasoconstriction is more, then blood pressure increases. Vasodilation is more, then blood pressure decreases. Then come to gender. It is seen that usually females have slightly lower blood pressure than the males before the age of menopause. But after the age of menopause, it is seen that the blood pressure increases in females in comparison to males. The next question, it's a give reason question, why obese people are more prone to hypertension. This part is also seen in 11th standard syllabus where we have studied about the adipose tissues. As the person gains weight, the amount of adipose tissue increases and so on the new blood vessels are formed. So does an obese person have many blood vessels in comparison to a lean person? And as the blood vessels increases, the length of the blood vessel increases, we have seen that the blood pressure also increases. So this is the reason behind it why in obese people are more prone to hypertension. Let us go to next question now. A person who has undergone heart transplant needs lifetime supply of immunosuppressants. Explain why. Now, what are immunosuppressants? These are the drugs which will be reducing the level of immune activity to the foreign bodies such as transplant organs. So two things are done by this immunosuppressant. One is it reduces the level of the immune activity and the risk of the rejection of foreign bodies. Because transplant organs are the foreign bodies. It has been taken from someone else. So immunosuppressants are being given for a lifetime purpose for those people who have undergone any type of organ transplant. After transplantation, there is a risk of graft rejection as the body may recognize the transplanted organ or a tissue as a foreign and may trigger immune response, thereby damaging the transplanted organ. So to avoid this risk, immunosuppressants are given to those persons. Now, next question is measurement of blood pressure. Now, usually in this, one of the two questions are asked as MCQs. So blood pressure is measured with the help of an instrument, and the name of that instrument is sphygmomanometer. This instrument consists of an inflated rubber bag. Many of you might have seen this. It's a cuff covered with a cotton cloth. It is connected with the help of a tubes, and those tubes are called as mercury manometer on one side and a rubber bulb on the other side. During measurement, you can see that the person is asked to lie on a sleeping position. The instrument is placed at the level of the heart and the cuff is tightly wrapped around upper arm. The cuff is inflated till the brachial artery is blocked due to external pressure. Then the pressure in the cuff is slowly lowered till the pulsative sound is heard. Now, what is that pulsative sound? That is lub dub sound is heard. Pressure indicated in the manometer is systolic pressure. Sound heard during the measurement are called as Korotkov sound, and these are the lub dub sound. Instead of lub dub, if the murmur sound is seen, that means it shows there is some problem with the heart. At this movement, pressure indicated in manometer is a diastolic pressure. Okay, so earlier the pressure which is exerted is called as systolic, then the pressure which is exerted is called diastolic. And optimum blood pressure level reads about 120 by 80 mm of mercury. So in this, expected questions are the name of the instrument, then what are the sounds heard during the measurement of blood pressure called as, okay, then what is the tube which is fitted to the stethoscope known as, it is called as mercury manometer. The sphygmomanometer is made up of two different instruments. One is mercury manometer and another is stethoscope. Let us see the next question. It is disorders of the circulatory system. The three disorders have been noted down in your syllabus. One is hypertension, other is coronary artery disease, and the third is angina pectoris. So these are the three different. Number one, hypertension. इसके बारे में अभी हमने पढ़ा. If the blood pressure is more than 140 by 90 mm of mercury, it comes on a threshold of hypertension. When it reaches to 180 by 120 mm of mercury, then it is said that it is the actual hypertension, and above that, slowly it shows some dangerous effects on the heart, brain, and the kidneys. And under the condition of hypertension, heart uses more energy for pumping blood, which causes angina pectoris. Now, what is this angina pectoris? So, angina pectoris is not the actual heart attack. It is not myocardial infarction, but it shows certain signs and symbols that slowly the heart capacity is decreasing. The chest pains due to lower blood pressure to cardiac muscles and may lead to myocardial infarction. These are some chances of brain hemorrhage due to hypertension, as arteries in the brain are less protected by surrounding tissues. In kidneys, hypertension may cause kidney failure. Next is coronary artery disease. It is also known as atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis कब होता है? When calcium, fats, cholesterol, or any fibrous tissue gets deposited in the blood vessels, supplying blood to the heart muscles, and it becomes narrow. Then is angina pectoris. Angina pectoris is not the actual heart attack, but it is the pain in the chest resulting from the reduction in the blood supply to the cardiac muscles. Because of any condition, it can be atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis. This is usually seen when the person is under strenuous exercise, that is during running or doing some strenuous physical exercise or physical work. Why? Because during this time our heart requires more amount of oxygen, and this is deployed. वहां तक नहीं पहुंचता है, oxygen reduced, oxygen level is reduced. So this is characterized by severe pain and heaviness in the chest. It may spread to neck, lower jaw, left arm, and the left shoulder. The pain usually results from exertion when there is more demand of oxygen by the heart, but supply does not meet the requirement. And angina pectoris pain slowly slows down when the person takes rest. So these are the three main disorders of the circulatory system which you have to note. Okay, if the question comes on this, it may come for 2 marks. Now, a very important question here, draw a standard ECG and explain the different segments in it. What you can see here is a standard ECG. ECG kya hai? These are the graphical recordings of the electrical variations detected at the surface of the body. Okay, and these electrical variations are caused by the rhythms of the heartbeat. जो heart में when contraction and relaxation hota hai, systole and diastole. So these electrical variations are caused because of that. Electrocardiogram, it was discovered by William Inthorvin. This recording may be in the form of a printout or an on-screen display. इस इंस्ट्रूमेंट को बोला जाता है इलेक्ट्रोकार्डियोग्राफ और ECG machines. This instrument detects and amplifies the signals. Here in this, various electrodes are being used for recording the signals, and usually a gel has been applied in between the body and the electrodes. The reason is that gel will allow even the millivolt signals जो होते हैं millivolts में वो भी absorb करते हैं in presence of that gel. So a gel is applied, electrode gel is applied in between the electrodes and the body. 6 electrodes are positioned on the chest. 4 electrodes are positioned on the limbs, 2 on the hands and 2 on the legs. In a normal record, 3 different types of waves have been recognized. One is P wave, other is QRS wave. You can see here, this is P wave, triangular, short triangular wave, P wave. Then is QRS, it is Q here, sorry, it's QRS wave, and then there's a T wave. So like this, 3 waves are being detected. P wave कब develop होता है? P wave develops when there is atrial depolarization. Now, what do you mean by atrial depolarization? Now, here we have to come across the terms. What is polarization and what is depolarization? Polarization is diastole and depolarization is systole. तो जब atrias में systole होता है, that is contraction होता है, तब P wave generate होगा. QRS wave कब generate होगा? It will generate, see how it is. It is a slightly downward deflection, then continues upright up and then again comes down. It is QRS. This is generated when the cardiac impulse is transferred from atrias to the ventricles. यानी SA node से जब वो AV node में आता है, at that time QRS complex is formed. That is, it represents the ventricular depolarization when ventricles undergo contraction. T wave. T wave is a small, wide, and upwardly elevated wave. You can see this. This represents the ventricular repolarization. Repolarization is what? Relaxation. So when ventricles undergo relaxation, you see it is T wave. Inverted T. If there is inverted T, it shows that there is some problem with the heart. Okay, so this is all about the ECG. Usually ECG diagram has been asked in the exam. They ask about the definition of what you mean by ECG, the name of the person who discovered ECG, and in brief about the three waves, that is P wave, QRS complex, and the T wave. Next is uses of ECG, where exactly it is used. It is used to diagnose if there is any abnormality in the conducting pathway of the blood. Second, it diagnoses if there is enlargement of the heart chambers, any damage to the cardiac muscles. It also diagnoses whether there is reduced blood supply to the cardiac muscles and causes of chest pain. It is also useful in detection of in the heart by defect in the heart by examining the wave pattern and the time interval between them. So these are different uses of ECG, and this is one of the important question. अभी जिसके बारे में हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, that is what is depolarization and repolarization. Depolarization is a change within a cell during which the cell undergoes a shift in the electrical charge, okay, distributing, resulting in less negative charge inside the cell. Now what do you mean by this? In short, इसका मतलब होता है depolarization is systole and repolarization is diastole. In short, it is like this. Whenever there is a potential difference created between the two ends, यहाँ पे outside the cell and inside the cell है. When there is negative charge inside and positive charge outside, then it is called as depolarization. And again, oppositely, when there is positive charge inside and negative charge outside, it is called as repolarization. तो ये आंसर जैसा है वैसे ही आपको बाय हार्ट करना है if you get a question on this. Then what is the difference between the P wave and T wave? P wave हमें पता है, it shows the impulse which is conducted in the SA node. T wave ventricular relaxation है, P wave atrial contraction है. It indicates atrial origin, it indicates ventricular repolarization. It is of atrial origin, it is of ventricular origin. If you see here, it is a small upward wave. T wave is a dome-shaped wave. Then the last part of this chapter, that is lymphatic system. Lymphatic system consists of what? Lymph, lymph vessels, some organs and tissues. Lymph is a blood connective tissue which almost similar to the blood except RBCs, platelets and proteins. अभी ऐसे तो आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा. Now usually you consider like a blood vessel. Through a blood vessel, the blood is flowing. So when the blood flows through the blood vessel, the blood vessels are porous. Through those porous blood vessels, some part of it comes out. ओके तो ब्लड का ही एक पार्ट बाहर आ जाता है एंड इट रिमेन्स इन बिटवीन द बॉडी सरफेस एंड द ब्लड वेसल. तो वो जो बीच में है दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ लिम्फ कैविटीज एंड थ्रू दोस लिम्फ कैविटीज सर्टेन लिम्फ कैपिलरीज फ्लो एंड लिम्फ कैपिलरीज कंसिस्ट ऑफ लिम्फ. तो लिम्फ क्या है? इट इज अ फ्लूइड विच इज अगेन अ पार्ट ऑफ ब्लड इटसेल्फ, जिसमें आरबीसीज, प्लेटलेट्स और प्रोटीन्स नहीं रहेंगे. Fluid from the intercellular spaces of the body tissue enters its lymphatic vessels. From there, it will be discharged in the veins and through the thoracic duct and the right lymphatic duct. Thoracic duct will be collecting the lymph from the upper part of the body, and right lymphatic duct will be connecting the lymph from the lower part of the body. Now, these are the location of different lymph nodes in the human body. One is in the neck, which is called tonsils. दूसरा chin में होता है. Then is armpits, then mammary glands, groin. It is present in the spleen region also. ये जो diagram दिया हुआ है for lymphatic capillaries, this is again important. You have to know at least 3 labelings for this. Okay, diagram with 3 labelings. Now here you just have to observe this diagram and describe about it. There's a relationship between the lymph capillaries to the tissues and the blood capillaries. जैसे मैंने अभी आपको बताया था, arteries है, blood है, and blood से बाहर जो निकलने वाला fluid है, that is called as a lymph. You can see here. This is a vessel which is present in between the body surface and the blood vessels. और ये जो arrows दिखाता है, these arrows are showing the flow of the lymph. A relationship between the blood and the lymphatic system is found through the capillary system. As capillaries and other vessels are present in both systems, you can see here. Lymph capillaries are filled with lymph and blood capillaries are filled with blood. So from the blood, some material comes out and that forms the lymph. Lymph capillaries are at a blind end, means it is closed at one end. weave between the tissue cells and the blood capillaries in the loose connective tissues of the body. So वो किसके बीच में है? Blood capillaries and body cells के बीच में होता है. Each lymphatic capillary carries what? So it carries lymph into a lymphatic vessel, which in turn connects to a lymph node. And we have seen where all in the body the lymph nodes are located. And which are the lymph nodes? One is tonsil, second is thymus, third is the spleen. These are the major lymph nodes in our body: spleen, tonsils, and thymus. Okay, so this is all about this chapter. Respiration and circulation, it ends over here.